Once again, I'm inventing words.
You are boringness.
Or boredom.
Yeah.
But
Boredom.
boringness, you get the gist.
I got the gist of it. Gordon Gecko gave us greed is good. Chris Spielman gives us boringness is good.
Yes.
I could have done with a little boringness last night on the presidential debate. We may touch on that here on the Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast as the day continues. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday, September 30th edition. September's gone. The month is gone.
Yeah.
I'll say, boy, really fast. And at least before October's gone, we'll have Buckeye football, but it still seems like an eternity to me. Oh, my goodness.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
And I was on a couple of radio shows the past few days, just around from being on the NFL, and everybody always asks me about Ohio State. Ohio State is such a strong brand for college football.
Sure is.
And my point was, it's very frustrating when you see the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12 play, and the Big 10 not playing. And I get everybody was trying to do the best that they can. I get it. But I think the whole frustrating part was any lack of unity or coming together and figuring out, okay, why are you guys playing? What information do you have? Here's why we're not playing. And it's frustrating. I also believe that everybody understands, and we'll touch on this because I talked to Rick yesterday with the Vikings and Titans and what's going on. Those that are just listening, my brother Rick is the GM of Minnesota Vikings, and they had an interesting day yesterday. It's just, for me, I mean, I'm glad they're going to play. And I think once the Big Ten gets back to normal, for you and I and people that follow Ohio State football, that's another thing in our life that is moving toward normal. It's not for everybody,
right?
But for us,
yeah,
it's another thing in our life that signals some type of normalcy. So I'm excited for it. I think that it's kind of recharges everybody during the middle of the season, and I'm anxious to see the product out on the field because everybody thinks they're going to be really, really good. I think they're going to be really, really good.
And I think it's good, not just for us, but it's good for players, and particularly a player like Chris Olave, who was available to the media yesterday for the first time. And here's a kid who did what he did all year to catch 12 touchdown passes. He trusted his instincts to react to a play based upon what he saw Justin Fields doing in the playoff game against Clemson. He broke off his route. Fields was, in fact, not scrambling, threw the ball where Olave was supposed to be. It results in a game-ending interception, and Chris Olave has to live with that. He doesn't get to go out on the field and work it out and exorcise it from his mind and everything in the spring. The summer goes on and on. The season gets postponed, and he was just talking yesterday about how he just wants to get out on the field and do something, so that's not the last thing he did.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think that goes for a lot of people. I mean, I've had that. I remember doing a Browns, when I started working for Fox, my first Browns game. I remember walking out on the field. Maybe you remember.
I do remember you talking about this.
Post, and I went out and kind of tried to bury that demon. That was the last time I played a game of football.
Injured in the preseason game,
against the Chicago Bears. So I get that part of it. And just some optimism. I was talking to a scout in Cleveland, actually, and I confirmed it when I talked to Rick and a couple other people. Ohio State just has so many potential NFL guys. I mean, like when you go into Ohio State as a scout, you better be prepared and pack a lunch because you're going to be there for a while.
I know. I mean, you better have an extra notebook with you.
You have so many guys to write up. It's just amazing. The amount of people. There's, give me the Josh, what's his center's name?
Josh Myers.
Josh Myers is a guy that I think is standing out for a lot of people.
They love him. You love Wyatt Davis right next to him. You love Harry Miller next to Josh on the other side. You know, the other offensive linemen, they've got a battle at tackle between, five Paris Johnson, Nicholas Petit-Frere. You got all these guys.
Wow, look at you.
They're loaded at wide receiver. It's like, you go to look at I can picture a scout. Well, I'm going to go look at Olave because he's probably coming out in the draft. Wow, who's that? Garrett Wilson? Oh, he's a sophomore. I'm going to keep my eye on him for next year. Oh, wait, Julian Fleming and Mookie Cooper and holy cow, look at these freshman wide receivers. I mean, everywhere you look, right? Yeah. And that's why they are who they are and what they are. It's just the AP poll right now. You got half the guys. The AP should have given the poll voters direction. Either vote people who are going to be playing but aren't playing now, or don't vote them until they play. But you got half the poll voting Ohio State where they think Ohio State's going to be. You got half the poll not voting them because they're not playing. And I fully understand both views. I just don't understand how Ohio State can be 16th on one ballot, not on 11 ballots, and then as high as number 1 on 4 ballots.
Does anybody actually look at AP and Hood? Does anybody even care?
It's all prestige. I think they're living off their history. It's just
like
a way.
A lot of the press nowadays.
Yeah,
for
sure.
History.
Amen to that.
Big announcement today.
We'll do that in about 10 minutes. A little career news, which I'm very excited about.
And I'm going to have some career advice for you.
Okay, excellent.
Put it on the record.
Great. I'll always take that.
You don't always utilize my advice, but you do take
lately
it.
I'm doing a better job, I think, of utilizing
Somewhat.
it. Yeah. So the official opener for Ohio State, October 24th, and it will be noon against Nebraska. It's the big noon kickoff game, which Fox would have been stupid, and they're not, to lead with any other game on its first actual Saturday of Big Ten football.
Yeah, a lot of guys are. I'm happy, not only for the players, I'm actually happy for a lot of my colleagues, right? Because they're not working right now, and these guys get paid by events, a lot of them, right? Yeah. So you know this, and so I'm happy for them because at least they're going to get some type of income coming in. So it's really important, and I'm excited for it. People don't think it's important. I get it. It's not the most important thing in the world, but it's important to a lot of people, and it generates a lot of income for a lot of people. So we all should be excited about it. And like one step, if you are a football fan, you don't have to be a football. I'm only saying this and keeping things in perspective, but if you are a football fan, it's one step closer to getting back to normal.
It's not normal for the Vikings and Titans this week, even in the adjusted world of repeated COVID tests and all the safety protocols. The Titans facility is shut down through Saturday. What's the situation with the Vikings? Are they allowed to go to their facility?
So, let me give you, I think, the background of what happened. A practice squad player
for Tennessee
got the COVID.
Tested before they left for Minnesota on Friday or Saturday.
Probably.
Yeah, he tested that day, so he was kept back.
Right. And I think what happened was one of the coaches that coached that player, he gave it to that coach. Then that coach had a meeting, and in that meeting was a confined area and didn't have a mask on. Okay, so
all those guys tested negative.
All of them tested negative.
All the Titans tested negative on Saturday before the game in Minnesota. They do not test on Sunday. It's the only day they don't get tested. The reason they don't get tested on Sunday is because the test that is most accurate is the swab up the nose, which does not give you a rapid result. The rapid result test is not thought to be fail-safe. It's more of a confirmation test.
I wouldn't say...
I read that this morning.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know if accurate. I think the one that is most sensitive.
What the NFL's view of these two types of tests, the swab up the nose they view as more accurate. The saliva test or the other rapid test they view as a way to confirm the first test. So that's why they don't test on Sunday.
I'm just telling you, I get a rapid test with a swab up the nose every single week.
Okay.
So but I know what you're reading, and I get all that. So I talked to Rick yesterday. Nobody's tested positive as of yesterday. They sent everybody home. They're doing everything virtually, and hopefully they'll be back. There's a chance that they'll be back to practice this afternoon or possibly tomorrow. But as far as I know, I think I know Mike Tomlin was quoted as saying that everybody prepare like you're going to play a game.
Steelers play at the Titans. The Vikings play at the Texans.
Right.
And so they all flew home. The Titans all flew home from their 1-point win over the Vikings. And then 8 more of them tested positive when they got to Tennessee. 3 players, 5 coaches. No one from Minnesota's tested positive yet.
As of yet, yes. Yeah. That I know of or that I've heard of. I don't know. Have you heard of anybody?
Not as of this morning.
And so they're taking all the precautions, but I don't know what the contingency plan is. I'm sure the NFL has a contingency plan on if you miss a game, what do you do?
They do have, for this one, the they may move the Steelers-Titans game back to Monday. The Vikings
at Texans.
Yeah, Vikings at Texans. They have some kind of bye week thing they can work around. They have to move one game, change somebody's bye week, but they could do that. So,
and I think the league will be very cooperative because there's got to be contingency plans moving forward. Because I think we're all naive if we didn't think something like this.
Sure. Look at college. I mean, Houston hasn't played a game yet.
And we all knew this coming into it, though. You know, and I just don't want to hear people see, I told you so, you can't play. And you know, my other you know, we've had another COVID issue in my family, and it's just you know, one of my stepdaughters at school, and you just deal with it. You know, and hopefully and prayerfully you hope that nobody has awful symptoms and that they're recover from it okay, and just kind of keep moving forward. You know, because of this COVID test, you don't shut everything down because of a COVID test. You just keep moving forward. You keep taking the precautions necessary. And like I've been telling you, I mean, every week I go in and get that brain biopsy, and then they give me my result, and it tells me whether I can go to work or not. So
the brain biopsy is Spiel's way of saying they stick that swab way up your nose, way up.
It's brutal.
We move on with our COVID-19 giveaways. Friday, we'll draw 4 more names, give away 4 more checks for $250 COVID-19 relief. We have a nomination this week for someone from OSU who was furloughed in the athletic department furloughs, which I love that. Trooper Randy.
Love that they're furloughed?
No, I love that we're getting nominations. Thanks to Trooper Randy, who nominated someone, and we just really appreciate that. Chris doing a great job following his heart on a call to give away a total of $40,000. So we're well on our way to doing that. Get your nominations in Spielman Hooley Podcast at gmail.com, Spielman Hooley Podcast at gmail.com. Wyatt Davis and Sean Wade have been cleared now through all their agent dealings and hurdles and whatever. So they're fine to play for Ohio State. Unfortunately, I think this stinks. Jake Garcia is a quarterback from California, high school quarterback, has committed to USC. No football in the state of California. They're shutting her down, still shut down. Chris was out there for the season opener, talked about how, shut down everything.
It's just different.
So Jake Garcia wants to stay sharp, wants to play high school football. State of Georgia has a completely different view of COVID safety than California. Georgia's playing football. Georgia plays good high school football. Jake Garcia's family has the means to move to Georgia so that he can play high school football. Georgia High School Athletic Association, much like Ohio State, the Ohio High School Athletic Association, doesn't want kids transferring willy-nilly, building super teams, so they build in these precautions against that happening, and they require a family to make what they call a legitimate move into a school district for a kid to play high school football. Now, I would deem Jake Garcia's mom and dad going to court and legally separating, and then the father moving to Georgia with his son as a legitimate move. He's moving 2,500 miles.
Yes.
And legally separating so that, you're
within the rules.
You're within the rules. So Jake Garcia plays the season opener for Valdosta High, throws for 400 yards, whatever. The Georgia High School Athletic Association then declares him ineligible because they say the move was not legitimate.
It's a joke.
And he's now ineligible to play high school football in Georgia. That is a lousy decision.
It's very unique times and unique situations.
Yeah.
So you have to approach every decision with some type of common sense. To take an opportunity away from a kid when you know that he does not have an opportunity because of things out of his control, because of a governmental decision made in California. So he makes a sacrifice. His parents make this huge sacrifice, and must not be a lot of Valdosta fans on the Georgia High School Athletic Association.
Apparently not.
I don't understand.
It's supposed to be about the players.
Why are we punishing this? I'm not saying I get it in it was a normal year,
Yeah.
I understand. But we're talking about a very unique situation where somebody's looking for an opportunity to play, and you just take that away from them. I just don't get that. I mean, I don't, like, in good conscience, how do you do that? I don't know how somebody does that or how somebody makes that decision.
I think it's an easier decision to say no than it is to defend saying yes. And so you just apply it in a blanket way. You don't look at the circumstances. You don't look at the individual kids, what's best for the individual kid, and you make a move. So I think that's a horrible decision, and I hope that he wins on appeal. There is no appeal for my Cleveland Indians. Your New York Yankees took them to the woodshed last night.
Of course.
12-3. Shane Bieber, who had not given up any first inning runs all year, well, he pitched like he was the twin brother of Justin Bieber last night. He grooves like 2 fastballs in the first 4 pitches, base hit, home run. And I thought right there, well, that's game's over. Now I can watch.
Are we in the playoffs yet?
Yes, that was the first playoff game.
Okay.
You're being a big baseball fan. I know today, starting at noon with the Reds and the Braves, you'll be sitting in front of your television.
Are the Reds in the playoffs?
The Reds are in. They're the 7th seed in the National League. They won 11 of their last 13. Breaking news here on the podcast.
They're in?
The immortal Trevor Bauer, your favorite, is pitching for the Reds today against the Braves. It's the first of 8 games today, Spiels. You can sit and watch 8 baseball games today.
Well, since this is a faith-based podcast, what are you trying to describe? My personal hell?
Personal purgatory?
Yes, purgatory. Yes, that would be purgatory. Cleansing of my sins.
We'd have to pray him out of there. Get him out of there! Oh, hilarious. Yes, so the Yankees tonight against the Indians can end their tribe's misery.
Is it 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3 for this first round, yes.
All right, good.
2 out of 3.
Let's go, Yanks.
Your man Tanaka will probably end the misery tonight. Okay. A
good Italian kid, right?
Good Italian kid, Tanaka. Yes, exactly. A reminder that Jake Garcia could use the services of Willis Spangler Starling, our law firm of choice. Stan would get him eligible, I bet. Stan's really a good man. Has done a lot of good things for me, helped me in an endeavor I'm going to tell you about here after I finish telling you about Willis Spangler Starling. WillisAttorneys.com is the website. Expertise across the spectrum, all the things you might run into. Personal injury, first of all, workers' compensation, wills, estate planning. Those are the 3 biggies right there, and they do that and many, many more things. Great expertise, great attorneys, utmost integrity, character, and expertise at Willis Spangler Starling, WillisAttorneys.com. All right, I got a new gig. I don't have enough gigs. I got another gig.
Congratulations, Brian. I'm
Thank
excited,
you.
and I'm going to give you some career advice.
I'm excited to announce that starting this coming Monday, October the 5th, I will be hosting a 5 to 7 p.m. talk show on a station I've listened to for a long time, and with an organization that I felt for a long time would fit me perfectly. And I just told the Lord in my prayers, if that ever would work out, I'd be excited about it. Salem Media. And the station locally is WTOH 98.9 FM. The Answer. It's a conservative news talk station. I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do. Whatever people are talking about is what I'll be talking about. I used to say somewhat jokingly at the Zone that I was in the interesting business. Whatever's interesting is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And if it's news, if it's talk, if it's politics, if it's culture, if it's sports, I'll be talking about it. I'll be hosting solo with a very, very competent producer named Aaron. And I'm looking forward to doing it 5 to 7 p.m. in drive time. So when you get out of work, I hope you'll dial us in. 98.9 FM, The Answer. And you can listen to it anywhere on the iHeartRadio app, or 98.9 The Answer has its own app as well.
So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for you. We've talked about this, and I've known about this because Bruce and I share a lot of personal information with each other. And I was very excited about it because it's something that challenges you. I like the fact that it's out of sports. It could be sports, but it's not the main driver. And I think it's a chance for you to grow as a professional broadcaster, a professional in the media. And I think it's a chance for you to grow as a person. And we're all looking for those opportunities. I know that I am. And I think you're absolutely ready for this, to make it out, take that next step out of sports. And my only thing to you is, and everybody knows where we stand as far as philosophy. I mean, it's a conservative radio station. I'm a conservative person. You're a conservative person. But I think what we've done and what you've done over the last year, especially, is that you have learned how to engage people that may have a different philosophy or belief in you. That doesn't mean you compromise what you believe. It doesn't mean you compromise your standards. But I think with this type of platform and how strong you are in your beliefs, you have the opportunity to set an example of what it means to talk with other people instead of talking over them. Talk to them with respect, and talk to them in a way that you're actually listening. Now, that doesn't, and again, I don't think that anybody's going to ever change your views or anything, but it gives you a chance to at least understand where that somebody is coming from. Because remember, my experiences are not your experiences in life.
Right.
And your experiences are not your listeners' experiences in life. Now, some of them may cross over, certainly, but there might be different situations that we have to deal with. And so with you, an influential person in the media outside of sports, which I'm really excited about for you, I just think it's a wonderful opportunity for you to have a platform and for the others that you have on your show to have a platform. And I encourage and challenge you to get people with a different view on your show, to have a dialogue and a discussion, and to force critical thinking on me and your other listeners. I'm really excited for you because it's a great opportunity, and I think it's if people would do well to listen to you, because the Bruce Hooley of 20 years ago was not the Bruce Hooley of today.
Yeah, the Bruce Hooley of 20 months ago is not the Bruce Hooley of today. That's definitely true. Because, first of all, there's some similarities to every talk show I've ever done. I'm going to be hopefully exceedingly well prepared to do my research.
Well, we know that, except for the podcast.
Except for the podcast, because that's when I really let everything go.
That's when you pack it in.
Right, exactly. They say you got to really be, you got to let it go to live a free life. So here on the podcast, I just
when you have a partner.
I just let my prep go and let myself go. That's what I do, and let Spiels carry everything.
Well, yeah, including paying for me to be on here. Yeah,
paying for my new garage door too. I appreciate very much. We'll be looking sharp next week. But then there'll be some things, and I would say most things, that'll be completely different from how I've done talk shows before. It won't be primarily sports. But two things you've said to me over the years. One thing you've said for a long time that I thought I understood it when you first said it, but I really didn't understand it until these past 18 months as I've grown to a point where I've invested in the Bible and my faith and journaling and praying. You used to say, and still say, know what you believe and know why you believe it. And I now am much more able to articulate in a even-handed way.
Yes, that's the key.
Not only what I believe, but why I believe it. And I'm much more willing to listen to other people tell me what they believe and why they believe it, and patiently listen to it. But and then engage on it. The other thing that you said, and you just mentioned it, was talk to people, don't talk over people. I've been very guilty in my career of talking over people way too often. And my goal going into this is that I won't be that person. I know myself well enough to know, because my inclination, my sinful nature is to be to stray from that. So I'll make mistakes in that regard. I hope I don't, but I'm realistic. I'll ask for forgiveness when I do, and I'll be open to other people telling me when I screw up when I do, as I hope I am with you. So I do hope that it becomes a destination for people in the afternoon to have their thinking enlarged, challenged, and to have mine enlarged and challenged. And I do look forward to talking to a lot of people who don't think like I do, in the hopes that we can agree on what we agree on, and agree to disagree on the things that we don't agree on.
I think these 18 months God has prepared you for this type of platform. And in the atmosphere that we're living in today, there's a chance for you to be an example of, again, not compromising your standards, but actually listening and talking. And I love the fact that what you say, our country has always been about, okay, we're not going to agree on everything, but let's look at the things that we can agree on, come together and make it the best we can make it. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity. More, I thought about this. When you actually first told me this, I wasn't surprised that this happened. I was not surprised at all, because I've always felt that something like this was in your future. I really did. I don't know why. I just thought it was because you're very articulate, you're very bright, and I think that God, over these last 18, is that how long we've been gone from the zone?
Yeah,
last
early February 2019.
These last 18 months, you have been refined. And now you're ready to go back into that world. The other thing I want to encourage you, and I want to encourage everybody, is to, and my wife and I were talking about this yesterday, to have an accountability to what you say and how you say it and to who you say it to, and to have an accountability to what the product is that you're putting out on the air. It's interesting because we've been dealing with certain, I don't even know, certain businesses, certain services. And it's almost like there's no accountability for the product that's provided. And it's very frustrating. And perfect example, it's a small thing. Okay, this is a very small thing. But there's a company that does my charts.
Yeah. For your broadcast.
I don't want to waste time filling and tracing in boxes and names. So Fox is kind enough to pay this person to do these charts. And what they do is they'll put in just last game stats and all that stuff. So I want you to tell me if I'm wrong, okay, on this. So I get the charts yesterday for Carolina and Arizona, and I'm looking over them, and I'm looking at some of the numbers of statistics of players, and they're not even close.
Ooh.
And I don't know why I started looking at it. I think I looked at one because I was watching film yesterday and I was making a note by a player, and I glanced at his numbers and I said, that's ridiculous. Then I started looking at the other players and I said, that's ridiculous. So I called a guy who's a very good man.
The guy who prepares.
Yeah, and he does his job. I mean, he does a good job. And I said, hey, here's some mistakes. Okay, we've been doing this for a while. I said, now, do I have to? Is this a fair question? Can I trust you, and I didn't say it in a bad way, or do I have to start proofreading before I ever do anything with these charts? Now, if I wasn't paying for them, yes. If I'm paying for service, is it wrong? I mean, this is a really serious question.
No, it's not wrong.
Is it wrong for me to demand that? Why don't you double check them?
Yeah, no, it's not wrong, because you know how this is going to work. You're going to give the information that you're given, assuming it's correct, and then the blame for it being incorrect is going to fall on you.
Right. And I get mistakes happen. I get mistakes. I get mistakes happen. I said I get mistakes happen, but they don't happen every week, And I said, you have people. I said, I'm asking you to hold yourself accountable to the product that I'm paying for.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I demand that of myself. I demand that for whatever company I work with, whether it's a CBD, whether it's a Mazda with Willis, Spangler, Starling, and Reed. AUI. Hemisphere Coffee. Thank you. Yeah. But I mean, I try to hold like what for Hemisphere Coffee. I don't like
Java Blues.
I don't like it, and I'm not going to lie to Hemisphere Coffee. And I'm just saying, don't give me that or whatever.
But you like a lot of other coffee.
I drink every other one.
Yeah.
So I guess, and I felt bad, but then there's another thing that happened with something that involved both my wife and I in purchases, and it's like there's excuse after excuse after excuse. I hate excuses.
Yeah.
I just want accountability. Yeah, I screwed it up.
I'm sorry. You're right. I made that mistake. I'm sorry.
I'm going to fix it.
Forgive me. I won't do it. I pledge not to do it again.
Because I do that. I mean, I hold myself accountable. When I screw up, I'm very apologetic. Like, even, I mean, we joke about it, but even like when I ran through your garage door, I was so upset about that.
You were. More than you needed to.
But I wanted to fix it right. My thing is, I'm not very patient. I want to fix it right away. All right, when's the guy coming out? How much do I owe you?
Yeah.
So, but that's all I want you to do is have accountability for the product that you put out. And I think it would be refreshing. Like one thing about me, and a player taught me this lesson, a teammate of mine. And his name was Mark Spielman, defensive lineman from Pittsburgh. And Mark would come into the huddle and he would say this, and I'm going to use a couple quotes here. He would say, "I destroyed that guy. He had no chance." Or he would say, "That guy kicked my ass all over the field." He was honest.
Yeah.
He was so honest.
Yeah.
Like when he did well, he let everybody know he did well.
Yeah.
And when he got killed, he was the first one to say, "That guy kicked my ass," which was it was great. There was no excuse, no nothing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging everybody out there, no excuses, just be accountable.
Yeah. Well, I intend to be, and I pledge to surround myself with prayer from friends like you, and to pray before each show that I won't do anything to betray the faith that I use as my prism to look at everything through. And hopefully that'll put me in the right mindset, and hopefully I'll be able to do it. So I'm looking forward to it very, very much. I'm very, very grateful of the opportunity from 98.9 FM.
I think about people that are really good at that. And a lot of them are church leaders. And whatever the denomination may be, any church leader that I've talked to and had serious conversations with, when I'm talking to them, they sit there and listen intently. And it doesn't, they give you the time and the attention and a critical thought that is deserving of somebody that you're talking to. And just without they don't have to compromise. For example, if you have you and I are both very pro-life. But if you maybe you talk to somebody that was raped or whatever the case may be, and I'm not saying you agree with the abortion, but you can sit there and listen with compassion for what that person has gone through and the devastating choices and decisions that they have to make, and try to have a comprehension and understanding of it doesn't mean we ever compromise on it, but we have love and compassion and give a reason for the hope that you have.
Yeah, I will not, this will not be a show where every show makes a direct reference to scripture, but it'll be a show where I certainly can do that if I want to. And I have great freedom, and
I'm excited. I'm more excited than you are.
No, you're not. Trust me on that. But I'm glad you're excited, because I'm very excited. So I hope you'll all give the show a chance. 98.9 FM, The Answer, Monday, starting at 5 p.m. I'll be following Seb Gorka,
Sebastian Gorka,
Gorka, who will be on from 3 to 5. The Charlie Kirk Show will be new to The Answer.
Big leaguers,
at
man.
Noon, and Dennis Prager. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to working for a company that I share their values and I share their vision. So
good.
Very excited about that. Time for me to get back to work on Monday. Time for you to open enroll in a new healthcare plan if you're not happy with the one that you have, or maybe you should enlarge your thinking about what you have and what you're paying for and what you're getting and whether it suits your family now, because your family situation evolves. When our kids were younger, pediatric care mattered a lot. Now, not nearly as much, or certainly we're looking at different doctors now for the kids. So maybe you're in that situation. Chrissy and AUIinfo.com. They're the experts on what plans offer what doctors, what hospitals, what coverage, what specialties. AUIinfo.com, and we're pleased to hear that AUI is getting calls and inquiries from you off our referrals from the podcast, because trust me, they are great people. They have your best interests at heart. It does not cost you a dime, because the cost of a healthcare consultant is baked into the cake, whether you get it from healthcare.gov or whether you get it from a big company like Aetna or someone else. You're already paying for that consultation and expertise because they know they have to have those people on staff. Why not let an independent person who doesn't have allegiance to any one plan give you the straight scoop, straight information? That's AUIinfo.com, AUIinfo.com.
Hey, did you tell your overlords at 98.9 The Answer that if I'm a guest on your show, it's going to be a really big show, bigger than just you?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because here is today's reference from Utz 1503. He says, I usually listen via the podcast, but the show is much bigger watching, as you can see you. There you go. And here is Kevin, who says, good luck, Bruce. Will you have big time guests like Chris on your new show? I don't know, Kevin. I don't know if I can afford him.
What are you talking about? I'm paying to be on this show.
Oh, you're working off your damages
yeah,
here.
I'm like the guy that dashed and died and got caught. Now I got to go wash dishes every day.
So when this opportunity was coming up, I said, hey, I'm really looking forward to having you on the show. And you're like, you know, I got this deal and that deal and the other deal. And I'm like, what? So I don't know the answer to this, Kevin, if I'm going to have to pull audio from the podcast and sneak him into the show, or
I'll do it.
If you'll come on, you know, periodically.
All I know is that I'm coming out of here. And
what do you do? All you do is what?
Give. That's all. I
So
do.
just keep on. Give. Give me your time at 6:30 in the morning. Give me your time at 6:30 at night.
Yeah.
Every 12 hours, I got to talk to you.
Here's the deal, though. I cursed you this morning.
Uh-oh.
What's that? What's the road I turn on
To come down
left?
here?
I turned on the left by the church.
That is Rings Road.
Okay, I turned left on Rings, and all of a sudden my engine light goes on.
Oh, no.
And I curse you because this wouldn't go on if I wasn't making a 20-mile drive every morning.
You're coming out here. You need a Sherpa to come out here. I
So,
appreciate it.
All right.
I'm not sure what this next comment is referring to. TicTap98 says, I'm envisioning Chris's next book right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, get on here and message me and tell me what it's about,
tell
because
us what
I
it's
would
about.
like to envision it also
Sure.
with you.
Absolutely. And Madeline says hello this morning. So
Hello,
we
Madeline.
appreciate that, Madeline, very, very much. We hope all of our fans out there will remember that Hemisphere Coffee Roasters is the official coffee of the Spielman Hooley podcast. Are you about low? I was thinking this morning when you came out, maybe you're low on Hunter's Plan.
No,
but your traveling has helped you kind of space it out.
I want to give credit to Hemisphere because the fragile peace treaty in the Spielman household.
Oh, it's tenuous, man.
it's holding though,
Yeah,
because of the
good.
box of Hunter's Plan.
Okay, good.
Just so there's hope out there for you others that are going through the evil civil war of coffee in your mornings.
The evil coffee civil war. Hemisphere will give you 15% off when you order with the promo code We Tackle Life in all caps.
My brother-in-law, Bill,
Yeah.
at Orthopedic One, best back guy around, takes
Yes,
care
sir.
of me. He ordered Hemisphere. He did
Good.
not use that.
What? Come on, Bill.
And then I also told him that he doesn't just, because they like ground coffee in
Yeah.
their house. So Sue and Bill, and you know Sue,
Mhm.
stepsister,
Mhm.
so they like ground coffee. And I told him that Hemisphere will also deliver the ground coffee, not just the K-cups. I'm a
Yes.
K-cup guy.
Oh, yeah, they'll do light, medium, dark roast. They'll grind it. They'll send you the beans if you want to grind it.
Yeah.
Because I guess a lot of people are coffee connoisseurs. They grind their own beans. My brother-in-law does that because I guess it's fresher and supposedly better. But yeah, hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. All right. Our conversation about my new job at 98.9 The Answer, and your conversation about expectations and what is fair to hold people accountable for and holding yourself accountable for, I think ushers us into the faith portion of the podcast. This has been a long journey for me, and I think hopefully instructive that while you may not have been without a job or something over the last 18 months, you may have a situation in your life that you've been wondering why God doesn't address it. Or he doesn't,
been there, yes.
Or he doesn't address it in the way that you want him to address it. There have been many times that I have prayed over the past 18 months, look, Lord, I want to learn what it is you want me to learn. I recognize there's something you want me to learn that I need to learn. And then when the time is right, I want to be ready. So what I prayed for consistently over the last 18 months was a big idea or a new way to serve him. I prayed for the hunger to pursue it once it approached, that I didn't want to just, kind of stroll into it or lackadaisically agree to it. I wanted to hunger to pursue it. I wanted to have the acumen to accomplish it. I need to pray for new acumen. I'm very comfortable doing a sports broadcast. This will be new for me, doing news, politics, culture, all those things.
It's exciting, though.
It's very exciting. I'm very grateful.
Challenging.
And then finally, and most importantly, I wanted to have the humility to give him all the glory for enabling me to do those first three things and accomplish it. So that's remains my prayer as I go forward in this opportunity, is that I'll pursue it with hunger and energy and great acumen, but also with humility to understand that it's not me doing it. I want to do it for his glory.
You need a signature thanks to God to start the show, and a signature thanks to God to end the show, whatever that is.
It's a great idea.
Quick. Yeah,
well, great
that's
idea.
That's
what you do. Give.
Yes. Please write it down so you don't
I will.
forget.
I'm going to write it down right here.
Good fake writing. I love it.
No, I got it right here. Start and finish with thanks.
Yeah.
So there you go. And this period of time, one of the things that God's laid on my heart through this time, if I'm moving into a realm that will include politics, include culture, include news, it's a scary time in our country. The debate last night was, I don't think, productive beyond rooting in people wherever they already started.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to add to that rancor. I want to try to find what I think has made our country great over the years is that we had some shared values, or at least a shared respect.
It's a great first show topic
for other people's values.
I'm your program.
Thank you. And so, my goal is to do two things, is to advance unity, not unanimity. We're not all going to agree. I'm passionately pro-life, and it's very apparent from my Twitter that other people are never going to be pro-life because their prism that they look through life with is totally different than mine. My prism, I cannot envision it ever changing. I hope theirs changes, but I don't think I'll change it because I think only God can change it. But I want to remember our scripture that we talk about a lot, 1 Corinthians 16, 13, and 14. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love, which I think conveys the verb to me, stand. I plan to stand for truth, things I believe to be true, and I will just stand on those. I don't have to crusade. I don't have to advance. I don't have to wage war, but I do have to stand. I'm called to stand. Ephesians 6:10 says we're called to stand for truth. And so that's what I actually thought about calling the show. Instead of the Bruce Hooley Show, I thought about calling it Stand for Truth.
I love it.
So we'll see if that's something that happens later on. But those are the things on my mind as I get ready for this new opportunity on Monday.
Well, a couple things. I have prayed for you a lot. I don't know if you know this.
Yes,
or not.
I do. I've known that.
Just that your opportunities, or whatever opportunities, or peace, however form peace would come for a long time, ever since we got the news at the Zone that we were no longer wanted. I don't know how
couldn't afford us. We weren't making enough money.
Yeah, we're making money, just not enough money.
Not enough. Needed more of us, they said.
So I think it was. It's so cool to see this happen, and I also want to bring it back. And I was actually doing my miles this morning. By the way,
how are we doing on the 6,000-mile challenge? You 5K yet?
5,600
Wow.
and 30.
You'll
So
have
I
this
have
thing crushed by
370 miles to go.
You'll have it
and I'll
crushed
never
by
do it
the
again.
middle of next month.
I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of taking a little bit of a toll where my wife asked me, you've lost 6 toenails and you've had to have 2 PRP shots in your hip. For what? I said, because I set a goal of 6,000 miles.
That's right. Because that's the code.
Yes.
And here's our friend telling us what the topic of your book is: accountability.
Oh,
right there. So you're talking about you're accountable to your goal.
I'm accountable to myself.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely.
I like that, actually, because it's hard to be accountable. It really is. I'm not accountable all the time, and I'm really working on it.
Well, you pretty much are. You're
I try to be. There's times where I haven't been, and I mean, there's always the constant trying to strive to get to where we want to be, or where we think, or where we know God would like us. And said, I'm not going to be, hey, you do you. You do Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. And along those regards, so as I was doing that this morning, I was thinking about this. In the time of uncertainty, in the time of COVID, in the time of a presidential election, in the time of just unknowing, I want to encourage all the husbands and fathers out there that you've got to be a rock for your families. You have to be. You have to be a rock for your wife. You have to be a rock for your children. And you have to be balanced. You have to stay balanced. You have to stay balanced during difficult times. And they look to you. I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just telling you, they'll look to you. And I just encourage you to stay balanced spiritually, physically, and mentally. And you don't have to do 6,000 miles. If your physical thing is to get out and walk a mile and get moving today, or to start a light exercise program, or just to eat a little bit healthy, I care about that. I care about you doing that. Mentally, just be aware of what's going on in your world and what's happening, and challenge yourself mentally. I try to challenge myself mentally all the time. My mental stimulation comes from me preparing for football games, because I get to think and I get to say, what would I do and how would I do it, and where can I see something that nobody else sees? That's the challenge that I have mentally. Then spiritually, just keep growing and keep seeking and keep striving and stay that balanced. And my brother talked to me, and I had to thank him yesterday, because there was complete chaos going on. And when I was talking to him yesterday, I have this plan, and he was completely calm. He wasn't freaking out. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is how we're going to move forward. Then they're in the midst of 0-3 start, which who cares about football? Well, the guys that are invested in $1 billion business care about football.
Absolutely.
And there's constant criticism and heat and bad thoughts going their way. And he just stays just like straight across the board. Never up, never down. Have a plan, execute the plan. So, and mothers too. I'm just talking just from you and I and our perspective of where we stand in life. You're a husband and a father. I'm a husband and a father. I know that we have other husbands and fathers out there. So be that leader in your household. And by being that leader, let your family see you humble yourself before God on a daily basis. And you will lead.
I think that's so great. I mean, I know Audrey, Macy, Maddie, Noah, were watching you closely during Steph's battle. And I know that you radiated strength, and I know they saw you seeking strength. I've tried over these last 18 months to never panic, because if the kids understood our lives changed economically, and they understood the differences, and I understood why they were anxious about some things. And I always said, God's got it. It'll work out. Don't worry, it'll happen. And they periodically in the morning come and find me down here, and they knew what I did in the mornings. And I do think it's extremely important for you to show that example to your kids, where your strength comes from, that you're willing to humble yourself and seek a greater direction.
So the verse, and I think it's and I hate paraphrasing verses, but I know that there's a song by what's the name of that band? I don't know if it's Jeremy Camp or whatever, but I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord.
Yep.
And I think that's in
Psalms.
Psalms, yeah. I lift my eyes. Yeah. So I just encourage all husbands and fathers to lift your eyes to the hills, and where does your help come from? Your help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. And what that was in response to was, I believe, during Passover, pilgrims or whatever were coming from all over, and they saw Jerusalem on a hill or whatever, and they would look up. So just lift your eyes up. That's where your help will come from.
Amen.
I promise you.
Amen. Thank you so much for joining us today, Friday. We'll be reading those nominations that you'll hopefully send today, Spielman Hooley podcast at gmail.com, to help people with COVID-19 issues. So we look forward to that. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again on Friday.